In today's Family Focus, we're taking a closer look at how your parenting style could impact your child later in life. I'm joined by Dr. Mallika Marshall. And Mallika, this is really about helping kids learn how to have healthy adult relationships, romantic relationships, really, right?
Right. So it's based on a study that was done out of Penn State with about 950 teenagers. And they checked in with them 3 times between 6th grade and 9th grade, asking them about their family relationships and about themselves. And then they checked in with them again in young adulthood to find out more about their romantic relationships. And they found that the teens that sort of had positive parenting growing up, those are parents who were supportive and nurturing, who had consistent discipline, and sort of explained why they were doing the discipline they were doing, tried to avoid as much serious conflict in the family, and fostered good communication. They found that those teens were more likely to have romantic relationships that were healthy, that they had better problem solving in their relationships, they had greater love or expressed greater love for their partner, they had a lower risk of violence, whether it was physical or emotional violence in their relationships. So it just goes to show what we're doing with our children on a daily basis at a fairly young age can really affect how they're able to maintain relationships with others.
Well, it almost sounds like they're watching the parents to see how their relationship is, and that's sort of kind of creating a mold for the relationship they may have later in life.
Right. We're always modeling for our kids, right? And this may sound obvious to people, and they're like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know how you feel. As a parent, I found this study really interesting because it reminded me that what I do with my kids, sometimes we need reminders. It may be like, okay, it's not rocket science. Of course, that makes sense. But sometimes you need to be reminded that how you behave, especially in your relationship with your spouse, and how you behave around your other children, how that really can have a long-term effect on whether your child is able to forge nurturing, loving relationships later on.
It's interesting because when I read this and I knew that we were doing this interview, it immediately made me think, okay, be more nurturing. In other words, I like to be the disciplinarian at the house,
good cop,
right?
bad cop.
I'm the bad cop. My wife is definitely the good cop. But in my mind, it's okay, you need that if you're going to have kids that grow up and do things the right way. But as soon as I saw this, I thought, okay, maybe I need to be the more nurturing type.
Well, I think you can be both, right? You can be a disciplinarian and you can be sort of consistent and make sure there are very clear rules and boundaries and that kids know what the consequences are if they break those rules. But you can do it in a loving, positive way.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's what I try to do. I had to punish a kid, you know, the other day for something he did. And I was like, I'm only doing this because I love you so much.
I like how you say I had to punish a kid like it wasn't yours. It was your kid.
It was my kid, but I got 3. So it's like one of those kids.
One of those kids. Yeah, no, I think this is really interesting because it does remind you that the kids are sponges, and we say that when they're 1, 2, 3 years old. They're sponges at 8, 9, 10, 11, 15 years old.
Right. Even when they're hiding in their bedroom and you think they don't hear what's going on in the rest of the house, if they hear conflict or strife between you and your spouse or you and the other children, I mean, that's going to eventually sort of settle in. So just be careful what you do around your kids and what you say. Doesn't mean you're going to be perfect all the time. None of us are. Certainly, they've heard me and my husband fight, and I'm like, oh, shoot, we probably shouldn't have done that in front of the kids. So you're going to make mistakes.
Sure.
But just try to not make consistent mistakes.
And the one thing I find is that when you do make a mistake, if you raise your voice louder than you had intended, it's always good to turn around and tell the child, hey, listen, I got a little bit loud there, and I'm sorry about that, but here's the reason why. And I think if you just talk to your kids like they're adults, oftentimes that helps them.
Exactly. But continuing to rule with an iron fist, which you do, right?
I don't rule with an iron fist. I rule with a, let's see, what's...
A soft gavel?
Softer than iron, but...
I know, one of those big paddles you use on the whack-a-mole.
There you go.
Right?
I'm like Judge Judy. I have the gavel, that's all. And my wife just lets the kids do whatever they want.
She's so sweet, though.
She is sweet. Francie, if you're watching, we love you.
Good balance.
All right, well, thank you for all the tips.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it. Thanks for watching.